The words hit me before I even had a chance to breathe. My wife, my once devoted, endlessly charming wife, stood in the doorway, coat slung over her shoulder, eyes sharp and glittering with a strange mixture of defiance and boredom. "Don't like it? Then divorce me," she said, tossing the words casually, as if she were talking about what flavor of ice cream to get, before she headed for the club. Froze. The coat slipped slightly from her shoulder as she paused at the door, a smirk playing on her lips, the kind I had once found irresistible. Now it felt poisonous. Calmly, I swallowed the tightening in my throat and said, "Okay, I'll think about it." The smirk faltered for a brief moment. Then she was gone, the click of the door echoing like a gunshot in the quiet apartment. I sank onto the couch, my hands trembling, though I tried to steady them by gripping the edge of the cushion. That one sentence, tossed off so casually, had shattered something inside me. I had loved her fiercely, trusted her completely, and yet, in that moment I realized how little I truly knew her. The day had started like any other. We had breakfast together, our usual banter over coffee and scrambled eggs. I had noticed her distracted glances at her phone, her sudden bursts of laughter at messages I couldn't see. I told myself it was nothing. Stress at work, maybe a joke shared with a colleague, but the unease in my gut had grown like an unwelcome shadow. And then came the invitation to the club. She had asked me to join her friends for drinks. I had declined politely, preferring the quiet of home after a long week, but she had insisted. "You don't have to come," she said lightly. "It's just fun. You'll probably be bored anyway." I should have insisted more, I realized now. I should have demanded honesty instead of letting her slip away under the guise of fun. The night was silent. I wandered to the kitchen, poured myself a drink, and stared at the city lights outside the window. I tried to tell myself she was harmless. Everyone deserves a night out. But the words she had left behind rang in my ears. Not a question, not a plea for conversation, but a challenge. I waited. Hours passed. My phone vibrated incessantly. Texts. None from her. From him. The first text was innocuous enough, a simple joke. But the next one, and the one after, revealed a pattern. Laughter at times she should have been asleep, plans she hadn't mentioned. The subtle trail of betrayal stretched out before me, and I felt like a blind man finally seeing. I remembered the way she laughed at me earlier that day. Not the warm, affectionate laughter that used to fill our mornings, but a sharp, knowing laugh, like she was letting me in on a secret I wasn't supposed to know. I confronted her the next morning. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, her makeup slightly smudged from a late night, hair tousled perfectly, as if some invisible hand had orchestrated every detail to perfection. "I know," I said quietly. "I know about him." Her expression didn't falter. She raised an eyebrow, sipping her coffee. "Know what?" she asked innocently, though the slight twitch of her lips betrayed her. "Don't play dumb," I said, my voice rising. "The messages, the calls, the way you leave me for nights on end. Don't lie to me." She shrugged. "I told you don't like it. Divorce me. Isn't that what you want?" I felt the weight of my own restraint, the calm I had forced myself to maintain, crumble under the raw ache in my chest. "No," I said, voice low but steady. "I don't want to divorce you. I want the truth." For the first time, I saw a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. The mask of indifference slipped just slightly. "The truth," she echoed. "Yes, the truth," I said, standing now, pacing the cramped kitchen, my hands balling into fists. "I want to know why. Why him? Why all these lies?" She leaned back, sighing, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. "It's complicated," she said finally. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did." Her words were almost laughable, if the situation weren't so devastating. "Did. You're telling me love and trust just happened. It's not like that, Sarah. You chose this. Every call, every meeting, every secret smile. You chose it." She didn't answer. Instead, she stood and walked to the window, looking out at the city that had become our cage. "I don't know if I ever loved you the way I thought I did," she said, almost to herself. I thought I did. But maybe I loved the idea of us, the routine, the comfort. And him, he made me feel alive again. Alive. The word hit me like a slap. Alive while I was dying inside, watching the woman I loved slip away piece by piece. I sank into a chair, head in my hands. And what about me? Yes. Didn't I make you feel alive? Didn't we have something real? She turned to face me, eyes glistening but no tears came. We did, she said. But sometimes, it's not enough. Silence fell between us, heavy and suffocating. I wanted to scream, to beg, to plead. But words felt useless. She had crossed a line I could never forget, never forgive easily. Days passed in a blur. The house became a battlefield of emotions. I watched her, studied her movements, her laughter, her absent glances. Each text, each call, each sly smile confirmed my worst fears. The man she had chosen, who I had met only briefly at some work event, was now entwined in the very fabric of our home. I was just a witness, a ghost of the man she once loved. Yet, in the midst of heartbreak, I found a strange clarity. I realized that I couldn't force her to stay, couldn't demand love where it no longer existed. I could only control my response, my dignity, my own soul. So I waited. And when the next night came, when she returned from the club, perfumed and careless, I met her not with anger, not with accusations, but with quiet strength. She leaned against the doorway, eyes scanning me for the familiar anger, the tears, the begging. She didn't find them. Instead, I smiled softly, almost sadly. I hope you had a good night, I said. Her eyes widened. You're not going to explode. No, I said. I'm done exploding. I've spent years being angry, being hurt. I'm ready to just be. And you, she faltered. The smirk she had worn so confidently was gone. I don't know what you want from me. Nothing, I said, my voice calm but firm. I want myself back. And if that means letting you go, then so be it. For the first time I saw fear in her eyes. Not for herself, but for the control she thought she had over me. I wasn't afraid anymore. In the following weeks, I arranged for counseling, for space, for reflection. She tried to reach me with apologies, with explanations, but I remained firm. I didn't hate her. I just understood that love, once broken in certain ways, cannot simply be repaired. Trust, once shattered, leaves splinters that never fully dissolve. And yet, in the quiet moments, I felt a pang of grief, a longing for what we had been, for the warmth that had once filled our apartment, for the laughter that now belonged to someone else. I mourned her, even as I walked away. One evening, months later, I found myself standing by the same window she had once gazed out of. The city sprawled beneath me like a reminder of everything lost and everything still possible. The pain was still there, sharp and intimate, but it no longer controlled me. I realized that betrayal doesn't just break a marriage. It tests the soul, demands resilience, and if we survive, teaches us the depth of our own strength. I had loved, I had lost, I had endured, and somehow through the heartbreak I had found myself again. And that, perhaps, was the hardest truth of all. Love is fragile, trust is precious, but our own hearts, those are the ones we must protect first.